Good morning and Boker Tov on this Erev Shabbat, on this beautiful Friday morning. It's wonderful to be here together on this day. It's good to see you coming together and coming in. Good morning, Sean. Boker Tov. I hope everybody, as they make their way in, takes a moment to share a word of greeting with others as we gather together here on our online minyan on Boker Tov. And to all, Boker Tov, welcome to Boker Tov from Temple Sinai. Temple Sinai congregation of Toronto's daily opportunity to connect, to reflect, and to remember. Good morning to Sandra and Annette and Joni and Deborah and Franklin and one and all who are here with us this morning. Good morning to Sulang and Seymour and Barb and Lauren and Alan and Eleanor. It's very meaningful to be here this morning on this Friday morning as we take a look at the larger Jewish world around us. And it's a very special morning for me as well. I'm grateful to all of you for being here this morning. This day happens to be my father's first Yahrzeit, and it's that much more meaningful as so much of the time I spent saying Kaddish for him was right here on Boker Tov. So I'm grateful that we have this time together and this opportunity together. And let us join one with the other together today to recite these traditional words and to help ground us as we face our day. Now, please join me in this prayer in Hebrew and English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar et ha'adam bechokma, u'baravo nekavim nekavim, chalulim chalulim, galui v'yadua lifnei chisei chvodecha, שאם ייפתח אחד מהם, או ייסתם אחד מהם, אי אפשר להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך. ברוך אתה אדוני, רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer is itself a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. The soul that you have given me, O God, is a pure one. You have created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within me you sustain it. So long as my soul is within me, I will give thanks to you, eternal my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. We praise you, eternal God, in whose hand is the power of all life and the spirit of all flesh. And let's join together now, Lasok b'divrei Torah, to invest in Torah study, to connect with the words of our tradition, to bring them into our lives today, and to enrich them for the generations to come after us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. בערב נא אדוני אלוהינו את דברי תורתך בפינו ובפי עמך בית ישראל, ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל, כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה אדוני, המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור. These are the obligations whose value cannot be measured. They nourish us in this world and help us to create the world to come. Kibud av va'em, to honor fathers and mothers. Ugmilut chasadim, to perform acts of love and kindness. Vashkamat bet midrash shacharit v'yarovit, to attend the house of study morning and evening. V'achnasat orchim, to welcome the stranger. Uvikul cholim, to visit the sick. V'achnasat kala, to provide for brides and grooms. V'vayad hamed, to keep faith with the dead. V'yun tefillah, to pray with sincerity. V'hava'at shalom ben adam l'chavero, to make peace when there is strife. V'tamud Torah keneged kulam, and the study of Torah is equal to them all. Well, please join me in reciting these words of blessing so that we will have recited Chai Brachot, 18 benedictions, 18 blessings, before we recite Shema together this morning. These words help enliven us, awaken us each day, and allow us to focus on who we are and our responsibilities in the world, one of which is matir asurim, to set free the captive. It is an ongoing source of pain and an ongoing crime against humanity that the hostages continue to be held by criminal terrorist Hamas and their allies in Gaza, while the world negotiates and allows the war in Gaza to drag on. That does harm in so many ways and to so many. And so we recite these brachot, first one half Hebrew, half English, the second one fully in Hebrew and onward, except the one matir asurim, setting free the captive, we'll recite in both ways as a reminder of our commitment to the hostages and their well-being. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You have given the rooster the natural wisdom to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzalmenu kidmutenu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You have given me free will. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You have helped me provide for my needs. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You clothe the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. And again, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You release those who are held captive. English, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You help those who are bowed to stand straight. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Roka haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You surround Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Oter Yisrael b'tifra. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You give strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hama'avir shena me'enai utnuma me'afapai. And having recited our brachot, we continue with the words of Shema Yisrael. These words that our people have recited under every circumstance, in moments of family life cycle and community celebration, in moments of difficulty and loss and assault, in last moments in life before the life of a loved one comes to an end, as the first words of a new Jewish life, filled with hope and joy as they learn their first words of our tradition. These words of unity bring together all different ages and stages, all different historical moments, all different parts of our people, as we join together in Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, bechol levavecha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavcha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'divarta bam. V'shivtecha bevetecha uvelechtecha v'derech uveshochbecha uvkumecha. Ukshartam laot al yadecha, vayu letotafot ben enecha, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת. והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם emet. Well, it's very meaningful to be here with you on this particular morning. Meaningful for me because, as I mentioned, it is my father's first Yahrzeit. And it's meaningful because it gives us the opportunity to look at the world around us and to see what is taking place. And having facts is so important in the effort to understand what is taking place here in our world. At the same time, we can also recognize when there is some amount of progress on really difficult and painful issues. During this week, a report was released by the government that comes from the office of the Canadian envoy against anti-Semitism, documenting anti-Semitism that has taken place since October the 7th, 2023, in Ontario's public schools, focusing in many ways here in Toronto and in Ontario, where the largest number of Jewish students in Canada are found. And the results of this study, here's some of the key findings as listed in the study. And I'll put the link to the study in the chat just to make it easier for you to find it yourself. But they find the nature of anti-Semitism, which has exploded in our local schools, that more than 40% of the incidents involve Nazi salutes, assertions that Hitler should have finished the jobs, the like. Fewer than 60% of anti-Semitic incidents refer to Israel or the Israeli-Hamas war. Nearly 1 in 6 anti-Semitic incidents were initiated or approved by a teacher or involve a school-sanctioned activity. It's near just over 2/3 of anti-Semitic incidents occurred in English public schools, and nearly 1/5 were directed at Jewish private schools. But more than 2/3 took place in the English public schools here, especially the Toronto District School Board. Why are we experiencing this, especially since so many of those anti-Semitic incidents, more than 40% of them are not in any way related to Israel or the Israel-Gaza war, because anti-Semitism really has poisoned the foundations of the education system here locally, as well as the training of education systems. There's been an entirely different mindset that has been allowed to take root. For example, when I was looking this week into um, uh, the events that have taken place in our schools, um, including the field trip um, for a protest in support of First Nations, but where students were exposed and encouraged to participate with quote unquote pro-Palestinian um, demonstrators. Um, it's just a reminder of how there's been an ideological takeover of much of the infrastructure of education. For example, Education Action Toronto was founded more than 25 years ago at the time as a force in education that was intended to be meaningfully progressive. But here, in an article from their school magazine published just last month, we find one of their key writers wrote the following about the field trip. Not surprisingly, there's a lot more to this story than a field trip. There is a legitimate concern about increasing anti-Semitism, along with anti-Palestinian racism and Islamophobia, since the raid on Israeli settlements by Hamas on October the 7th, 2023, the deaths of 1,200 people, and the abduction of 250 citizens. That's right. While pretending to have concern about anti-Semitism and mingling it with the politically troubling uh, anti-Palestinian racism, which we'll address at other times, this writer, the staff writer, a common writer for this organization, referred to what happened on October 7th as a raid on Israeli settlements by Hamas and referred to the 1,200 people's deaths that day, not who they were or how they came to those ends. And I share this because it shows that it's going to take enormous work to uproot anti-Semitism from our public schools, which means that, in my opinion, it was good news last month when, in this June, the province who has guidance and control over public education in Ontario took over for school boards, including the Toronto District School Board, sidelining the role of the trustees, doing so to manage financial management in particular, but I believe very much with an eye to uproot the way in which public monies are used to promote anti-Semitic ideas, such as the application of anti-colonialism to the existence of Israel, which is by definition an indigenous project, not in any way a colonial project. I don't think we should miss out on these changes and we should watch. I met with the MPP that represents Eglinton Lawrence, that represents Temple yesterday, Michelle Cooper. Had a really good meeting, but talked with her about ways in which we hope to see that the government can do what it uniquely can to uproot the drivers of anti-Semitism in our public schools. More on that as we progress. We turn now to our prayer for the IDF, for those soldiers who, after not some raid on settlements, but the genocidal attack on Israelis, and those who had chosen to come to what is internationally recognized sovereign Israeli territory. But that terrorist attack by Hamas, um, soldiers who are forced by an uncaring world to have to continue the war against Hamas, even with all of the pain that war creates, always for all involved. Let's join in this prayer that their actions might somehow lead to a better world. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב ואמותינו שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל, hu yivarech et chayalei tzva ha'hagana liYisrael u'sha'ar meginei Yameinu ha'omdim al mishmartam. May the Holy One who blessed our ancestors bless the soldiers of the IDF and all who defend our people. May the Holy One guard them against all difficulty and distress, injury, and illness. May all of their actions bring blessing, fulfilling the prophet's words. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, and may they learn war no more. May all sit under a vine or fig tree, with none to make them afraid. And together we say, Amen. Let's continue with our prayer for those in need of healing, for all those in need of healing, for those in our family and our circle of friends, as well as all those who are injured or isolated, whether by age or infirmity, and including those who are isolated by being forcibly held captive by terrorist criminals. And we also hold in our hearts the Druze community in Syria, victims currently of a genocidal assault that Israel and Druze Israelis in particular are trying to rescue them from. So focusing back in here close to our hearts on all in need, but especially on those in our family and our circle of friends, we include those whose names have been given to me and given to Temple, those names placed in the chat in this and other services, as we turn to these words of refuah. Mi shebarach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, v'imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel, hu yirapeh et kol makotenu. יהי רצון מלפניך אדוני אלוהינו להחלימם ולרפאותם, וישלח לנו מהרה רפואה שלמה ועטרת שלום, ונאמר Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all who suffer. May it be the divine will to provide healing and strength. Reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom, and let us say together, Amen. We've come together today to connect and reflect, and now we have the opportunity to remember and the obligation to do so. Recalling those whose lives ended in recent days and weeks, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we've taken into our hearts with our own. During the period of Shloshim, we extend our condolences to the families of Nathan Morrow, Bruce Altshuler, Joan Miskin-Skegan, Barbara Levy, Heather McDermott, Mel Kerner. And we also remember all victims of war and terror, including terror victims Nastia Borik, Aviv Etzili, Bella Ashkenazi, Daisy Yitzhaki, Desi Bello, Efrat Saranga, Etan Zaks, Hala Khatib, Ilya Peshkorov, Konstantin Totvich, Manar Al-Qasim Abu Al-Hija Khatib, Manar Diab Khatib, Maria Peshkorova, Meir Vaknin, Michael Nachum, Michael Zaks, Naomi Sha'anan, Noah Boguslavsky, Ofra Kedar, Yelena Peshkorova, Shadi Khatib, Shalev Zvuluni, Yaakov Bello, Yvette Shmilovich, Yonatan Samorano, as well as all those IDF soldiers whose lives have been lost in the last 30 days. Alon Davidov, Nave Leshem, Niv Radia, Ronel Ben Moshe, Ronen Shapiro, Shachar Manoav, Shai Levinson, Shoam Menachem, Stav Halfon, Rei Biran, Tal Moshovitz, Mayan Baruch Perlstein, Shlomo Yakir Shren, Yaniv Michalovich, Yisrael Natan Rosenfeld, Yuli Faktor, Benjamin Asulin, Matan Shai Yashinovsky, Avram Azulai. And on Yahrzeit, on the anniversary of their deaths, on this 22nd day of Tammuz, the 18th of July, 2025, we honor the life and legacy on Yahrzeit of Kylie Heather Arshinoff, Maida Beck, Elsie Cowan, Bert Dolgan, Judy Gabai, Sally Liederman, Maury Lewis, Isadora Lipson, Jean Mendelson, Stephen Medanik, Toby Schechter, Frida Smith, Michael Stone, Rose Sugar. Zichronam Levacha, may their memories be a blessing to us. Our griefs and our sympathies are mingled as we turn together to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope, the words of Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, בעלמא דברך ורתה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב עמו, אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמא ועמו, אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועמו, אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועמו, amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, and bring comfort and strength to all who remember. And together we say, amen. Well, wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom. A donation has been made today to Temple by Rabbi Michael Dolgan and family, observing Yahrzeit for Bert Dolgan. I hope today can be a meaningful and significant day to all. It certainly is to me. Tonight's service online, because of short staffing and those pesky illnesses, are actually going to be, with today's lists, are going to be re-sharing the service, the heart of the service we had 2 weeks ago tonight. For our Kabbalat Shabbat service, including, of course, the acknowledgement of today, this Shabbat's Yahrzeit. And please join us at Temple for services tomorrow morning, as well as for, it's available online as well. But let's come together. Boker Tov, make it a good one. Shabbat Shalom.